human asked, "Do you love me?" The alien woman's answer left him speechless. Ethan sat by the large observation window of the research station, staring at the vibrant blue and green planet below. It was his first mission outside the Sol system, and the beauty of the uncharted world left him speechless. Clouds swirled above vast oceans, while enormous forests stretched endlessly. He had dreamed of this moment since he was a child, a human standing at the edge of the unknown, ready to make history. Beside him, Commander Reyes glanced at the planet's surface data. "Sensors are showing life forms similar to what we predicted," she said. "But nothing like Earth. This could be the breakthrough humanity has waited for." Ethan nodded, trying to focus. He had always loved discovery, the thrill of learning something new. Yet today he felt something more, a strange anticipation, as if the planet itself was alive and waiting for them. The mission team had been sent to observe, study, and, if possible, make first contact with intelligent life. They did not know what to expect. They only knew that humanity had always dreamed of meeting beings from beyond the stars. 3 hours later, the team landed in a secure area near a wide river surrounded by glowing forests. The air was breathable but carried a sweet, unfamiliar scent. Ethan could hear faint humming noises, almost like music, coming from deep within the trees. As they set up their equipment, a shadow moved across the riverbank. Ethan froze. The figure was unlike any creature he had ever seen. It was humanoid in shape, but taller than an average human, with smooth, silvery skin that seemed to shimmer in the sunlight. Its eyes were large, calm, and deep, reflecting the colors of the forest. "Stay calm," whispered Reyes. "We don't know what it is yet." The figure approached slowly, tilting its head as if observing them. Ethan stepped forward, raising a hand in greeting. He remembered all the first contact protocols: slow movements, peaceful gestures, no sudden actions. To his surprise, the being mirrored his movement, raising its hand gently. Then it spoke, but not with words. The sound was inside his mind, clear and soft, like a gentle whisper carried by the wind. "I am Lyra. You are not from here." Ethan's heart raced. Telepathy. Could it be real? He looked at his team, who were frozen in awe. He cleared his throat and spoke aloud, unsure if she would hear him in the same way. "I am Ethan. We come from a distant world. We mean no harm. Peace is understood. You are curious, as all explorers are." "Curiosity is good," Lyra responded. Her voice, though silent to the ears, carried warmth and intelligence. Ethan smiled. He had studied alien communication for years, but never imagined it could feel so immediate and personal. "Can you understand me if I speak?" "Yes." "Your thoughts are clear to me as your voice. Tell me, human, why do you come?" Ethan hesitated. How could he explain humanity's longing for knowledge, the desire to reach beyond the stars, and the hope of making friends among the universe's mysteries? Finally, he said, "We come to learn to understand life outside our world. We want to meet, to know, and perhaps to share our knowledge." Lyra tilted her head as if considering his words. "Knowledge is important, so is trust. You must prove you seek it with respect, not only with words." Ethan nodded. "We will." For hours, they studied each other. Ethan discovered that Lyra's species had abilities humans could only dream of. She could sense his emotions, not just the surface feelings, but the deeper currents of hope, fear, and curiosity. She could also manipulate small amounts of energy to create light patterns, showing the team her skill in what seemed like a form of art. Ethan found himself fascinated, not just scientifically, but personally. There was something in her calm presence that made him feel understood, as if she could see the best parts of him. He noticed the way her eyes reflected not just the forest, but something deeper, an intelligence and curiosity that mirrored his own. Lyra, in turn, was fascinated by humans. She had studied humanity from afar, but seeing Ethan in person, seeing the mix of courage and caution, the flickers of emotion, was different. Humans were fragile, unpredictable, and yet remarkable. She sensed something in Ethan that was rare among species she had observed, genuine wonder and empathy. As the sun began to set, the forest glowed with soft, golden light. Ethan and Lyra sat on a smooth rock by the river, talking in their silent, shared way. He explained human traditions, the joys of music, art, and storytelling. She showed him simple ways her species connected with nature, how they felt energy in the environment, and how it shaped their decisions. Hours passed unnoticed. Ethan realized he had never felt so connected to anyone or anything before. There was no rush, no fear. Just two beings learning and sharing, bridging the gap between species through curiosity and trust. Night fell, and the forest shimmered with bioluminescent plants. Ethan and Lyra watched the glowing lights dance across the river. "Your world, it's beautiful," Ethan thought aloud. "As is yours. Your curiosity gives life meaning. I see your world in ways you may not even know," Lyra replied. A soft breeze stirred the air, carrying scents of flowers and the distant sound of alien wildlife. Ethan realized that, for the first time, he was not just exploring the unknown, he was feeling it, experiencing it as part of a connection that went beyond science. Reyes eventually called the team back to the shuttle. "Time to return. We need to report our findings." Ethan turned to Lyra, feeling a pang of reluctance. "Will we see each other again?" he asked silently. "If you return with respect and curiosity, yes." "Connections made with honesty endure," she answered. As the shuttle lifted off, Ethan pressed his hand to the window, watching Lyra fade into the glowing forest. He felt a strange mix of excitement and longing. This was only the beginning, he realized. Humanity had reached out into the stars and found something extraordinary, something beyond knowledge, something personal. Back aboard the research station, Ethan stared at the star-filled sky through the window. He thought of Lyra, her gentle words, and the quiet way she had opened his mind to a new way of seeing the universe. He felt hope, wonder, and an emotion he could not quite name. He smiled to himself. The universe was larger than humanity had ever imagined, and now it seemed warmer, more alive. There were beings like Lyra who could teach humans not just about life, but about connection, understanding, and perhaps even love. Ethan leaned back, closing his eyes, and allowed himself a rare moment of peace. The journey had only just begun. The human heart, with all its curiosity, bravery, and empathy, had made a small but important step into the unknown. And somewhere, beneath the glowing alien forests, Lyra was thinking the same thing, that perhaps this meeting was the start of something extraordinary. Ethan woke early the next day, even before the soft lights of the station brightened to signal morning. He could not stop thinking about Lyra, about the peaceful glow of the alien forest, and about the strange yet warm feeling inside his heart. It was not fear. It was not simple curiosity anymore. It was something deeper, something gentle, like a quiet promise that the universe still had beautiful mysteries waiting to be understood. He sat near the large window again, watching the distant planet below. It looked calm and full of life, and he felt a strong wish to return there. He wanted to learn more, not only as a scientist, but as someone who felt truly connected to what he had discovered. Commander Reyes soon joined him. She did not need to ask what was on his mind. It was written clearly on his face. She smiled softly and said they had permission to go back and continue communication under peaceful research protocols. Ethan felt relief and excitement at the same time. He thanked her and hurried to prepare. The team traveled again through the bright sky and soon reached the same glowing forest. It felt familiar now, like a place he had known for years. The air was fresh, and the light around them seemed to shimmer kindly, as if the world itself welcomed their return. Ethan stepped forward, hoping Lyra would appear. For a moment there was silence, only the sound of flowing water and the soft whisper of alien leaves. Then the air shimmered gently, and Lyra appeared again near the riverbank, calm and graceful. Her eyes reflected soft light, filled with warmth and quiet intelligence. Ethan smiled without even thinking. He greeted her with the same respectful gesture, and she responded in the same gentle way. She sensed his happiness and spoke inside his mind in her soft, peaceful voice. She told him she was pleased they came back, because it meant trust was real, not just a word. She said she was curious too, curious about humans, about their minds, and especially about Ethan's heart, which carried strong but kind emotions. Ethan sat with her by the river, and the rest of the team stayed nearby to do their research while giving them space. The communication between them grew more natural with every minute. He spoke aloud sometimes, and sometimes he simply thought his words. She understood both. Ethan told her about Earth, about blue skies, rain, oceans, and green forests that looked different from hers but were beautiful in another way. He told her about cities full of lights and people full of dreams. He explained music, laughter, stories, and the way humans celebrate life together. Lyra listened with calm fascination. She admitted that her species did not laugh the same way, but they had their own forms of joy. They felt harmony with nature, deep bonds with their people, and a gentle happiness when they learned something new or helped someone. Ethan felt amazed by how peaceful her world seemed. There were no signs of greed or selfishness. Her species valued kindness, understanding, and emotional honesty. They believed every life carried meaning, and every connection was precious. While they talked, Lyra decided to show Ethan something from her culture. She gently touched a glowing plant beside them. It reacted to her energy and released soft floating lights into the air. These lights moved slowly like tiny stars, circling around them in peaceful patterns. Ethan watched in awe. Lyra explained that this was a way her people expressed meaning without words. Every movement of light told a feeling, a thought, or a memory. She shaped the lights into a gentle spiral, then a growing wave, then a shining heart-like shape of pure light. She explained that this shape meant trust, respect, and deep connection. Ethan felt honored. He told her he wanted to share something human in return. He took out a small portable device and played soft earth music. It was a calm melody, peaceful and emotional, with gentle notes that carried warmth. Lyra closed her eyes as the music floated through the air. She felt the emotional power behind it. She understood that it was not just sound but a reflection of the human heart. For a moment, neither spoke. They simply shared silence, listening and feeling together. It was not empty silence. It was full of meaning. After some time, they walked deeper into the glowing forest together. Ethan was careful, respectful of every plant and creature. Lyra guided him safely, explaining the nature around them. They saw small floating creatures shaped like soft lights. They saw trees that changed colors as the wind touched them. They crossed a path where the ground gently glowed under their steps. Ethan realized something important. This world did not just exist. It lived. It responded. It felt connected to everything. Lyra then asked Ethan about human emotions. She wanted to understand love, friendship, fear, hope, and dreams. Ethan explained in simple words. He told her humans sometimes feel deeply, sometimes too deeply, but those feelings give life meaning. He said humans care, worry, hope, and dream because they want to protect what matters and reach what feels important. Lyra listened closely. She said human emotions were powerful, maybe even stronger than the natural energy her world carried. She admired how humans could feel so much and still keep moving forward. She admired how Ethan's heart carried both sensitivity and strength. Ethan felt a quiet warmth inside when she said that. He had never expected an alien being from another world to understand him so deeply. But she did. She saw him not as just a scientist, not only as a visitor, but as a person with feelings, hopes, and a gentle soul. As time passed, Ethan felt their bond growing. It was not something forced. It was natural, like breathing. They laughed softly together when something surprised them. They fell silent together when something beautiful appeared. They asked each other questions, learning slowly, carefully, and honestly. Lyra noticed something else too. She understood that Ethan did not just see her as a study subject or alien life form. He respected her. He valued her thoughts. He cared about her comfort. He wanted her to feel safe and appreciated. That meant a lot to her. Before the day ended, a small situation happened which strengthened their trust even more. A tiny local creature, bright and fragile, became stuck between some glowing roots. It was not dangerous, but it was scared and struggling. Ethan gently approached, calm and careful, and helped free it without hurting it. Lyra watched this simple act and felt something warm inside. She saw true kindness. He did not help because of science or duty. He helped because he could not ignore a heart in need, no matter how small. When the creature floated away happily, Lyra looked at Ethan with new admiration. She told him quietly that this simple action said more about humans than any long explanation ever could. Ethan smiled shyly. He did not see it as something great. To him it was natural, but to Lyra it was proof of something beautiful. As evening arrived, the sky again filled with glowing colors, and the world softly shined like a peaceful dream. Ethan and Lyra returned to the riverbank where they had first truly connected. They sat again, side by side, close enough to feel each other's presence, yet respectful of each other's space. Neither wanted to leave yet, but they knew the day was ending. Lyra told Ethan she felt something new inside her, something she had never experienced before meeting him. She felt warmth, curiosity mixed with gentle happiness, and a connection that felt deeper than normal understanding. Ethan felt the same. He told her he had never felt this kind of bond with anyone so quickly. It was not just friendship, not just discovery. It was something special, something meaningful, something that touched his heart. They both knew this was only the beginning of a journey, but it was already beautiful. When it was finally time to return, Ethan stood quietly, not wanting to break the moment. Lyra looked at him with calm, soft eyes filled with trust. She told him that as long as his heart remained kind and honest, she would always welcome him back. Ethan promised he would return, not only as a scientist, but as someone who truly cared. As he left with the team, he looked back one last time. Lyra stood there, glowing gently in the soft light, watching him with peaceful warmth. Ethan felt hope, happiness, and something deeper growing quietly inside him. He knew life had changed. The universe no longer felt cold and distant. It felt alive, emotional, and full of beautiful possibilities. And in the middle of all those stars, one gentle alien woman and one human heart had already begun a connection that felt stronger than distance, stronger than difference, and full of meaning. Ethan returned to the station that evening with a quiet smile still resting on his face. Even while walking through the busy corridors, surrounded by voices and machines, his thoughts were not there. His heart remained on the glowing world below, where Lyra stood with calm eyes and warm presence. He felt lighter than before, as if he carried a secret happiness inside him. Commander Reyes noticed it but did not tease him. Instead, she simply trusted him. She could see something meaningful was forming, something peaceful and beautiful, and she did not want to disturb it. That night, Ethan could not sleep. He kept replaying every moment with Lyra, her thoughtful voice in his mind, the way she listened so carefully, the way she seemed to understand him even when he did not speak. He stared out at the stars and thought about how strange life was. He had traveled across light years, expecting only science, reports, and data. Instead, he had found something deeply human, something emotional, something that touched his soul. The next day came gently, and once again the team prepared to visit the planet. This time the mission was not just about research. It was also about building trust, creating kindness between two species, and letting understanding grow. Ethan felt a calm excitement. He was not nervous anymore. He felt welcomed. When they landed again, the world greeted them softly. The river shimmered, the air carried that sweet fresh scent, and the glowing leaves whispered quietly in the breeze. Ethan stepped forward, his heart already hoping. And then she appeared, not dramatically, not suddenly, but with quiet grace, as if she had simply always been part of that place. Lyra smiled through her gentle presence. He could feel it before he even truly saw it. Her voice filled his mind like a soft melody, happy that he had returned. She had been thinking about him too. She had replayed his words, his kindness, his warmth. For a being who lived among harmony and calm, Ethan was something new, something bright, something deeply human. They walked together near the water, talking, sharing thoughts and simple joys. Ethan told her about childhood memories, about feeling small but hopeful under the night sky back on Earth. Lyra listened with interest and quiet emotion. She told him that her species rarely focused on single personal stories, but rather on shared experiences. Listening to Ethan's personal memories felt new and special to her. It felt like opening a small window into a heart. Soon, Lyra asked if he would like to see more of her world. Ethan agreed gently. They moved along a glowing path through the forest. Everything around them seemed alive in a soft, peaceful way. Flowers opened slowly as they passed, birds-like beings flew quietly above, and the ground sometimes shimmered beneath their steps like stardust. They reached a place where the trees grew taller and curved inward, forming a wide natural hall filled with light. Lyra explained that this was a place where her people connected with their planet's energy. It was not a temple. It was not a lab. It was simply a place of pure calm where thoughts became clear and hearts could breathe. She closed her eyes, and the air began to glow gently. Ethan watched, amazed but peaceful. Light flowed above them like gentle waves, responding to her calm emotions. Then something beautiful happened. She invited Ethan to share his thoughts there in that soft, glowing space. She wanted to understand humans more deeply, not just through observation, but through genuine connection. Ethan hesitated for a brief moment, not out of fear, but because he knew he would have to open his heart honestly. Then he agreed. He let his emotions flow softly, not hiding anything. Memories appeared like quiet reflections. His first day on this mission, his excitement, his hopes for humanity, his loneliness sometimes, and then the warm change he felt after meeting her. Lyra sensed everything gently, with respect. She never pushed deeper than what he allowed. She felt his kindness, his care, and the strength inside his heart. She also felt the quiet doubts he sometimes carried about himself, and it touched her deeply. She realized humans were strong not because they never doubted, but because they continued to care and hope even when they did. She shared herself too. Ethan felt her calm spirit, her love for harmony, her connection to every part of her world. He sensed her quiet curiosity about emotions stronger than she had ever known. And he felt something else, something very soft but real, her growing attachment to him. They slowly stepped out of the glowing hall of trees, both quiet for a while. The silence between them was not empty. It was peaceful and full of meaning. They both understood something new now. Their bond was real, gentle, and slowly becoming something deeper. Later in the day, the team worked nearby while Ethan stayed with Lyra. They studied harmless plants together, laughing softly when Ethan mispronounced some alien terms Lyra tried to teach him. She found it charming that humans could make mistakes with so much sincerity and still smile. He found it adorable that she tried to adjust her telepathic tone to make him more comfortable, even when it was already perfect. At one point, the ground brightened slightly as a natural energy wave passed through the forest. Lyra calmly guided Ethan to stand still and feel it. He closed his eyes. For a moment he felt deeply connected to the world around him. He felt like the trees were breathing with him, the air was listening, and the light recognized them both. He opened his eyes with wonder. Lyra smiled softly through their shared presence. She felt proud that he had trusted her enough to experience it. A gentle moment arrived when a group of Lyra's people came near. They did not come with suspicion or fear. They came quietly, curious and kind. They greeted Ethan respectfully. They did not speak verbally, but Ethan felt soft waves of calm and welcome from them. They could sense how deeply Lyra trusted him. That was enough for them. One of them smiled softly at Ethan before leaving, and Ethan realized something beautiful. He was not just a visitor now. He was beginning to feel accepted. As the sky changed colors toward evening, the world once again glowed softly with warmth and peace. Ethan and Lyra returned to the riverbank like always, because that place had become special to both of them. They sat quietly, close but respectful, listening to the gentle sound of flowing water and the soft hum of life around them. Lyra looked at Ethan thoughtfully. She told him she had learned many things about humans, but there was one thing she still could not fully understand. She asked him about love, not in a dramatic way, not in a confused way, simply in a sincere, curious tone, like someone asking about the meaning of a beautiful song. Ethan grew quiet. He looked at the glowing sky and thought carefully. He did not rush. Finally, he explained gently. He said love was not just happiness. It was care. It was choosing someone again and again. It was feeling peace when they smiled, worry when they were sad, and warmth just by being near them. He said love meant wanting to understand someone forever, not just for a short time. Love meant feeling like two hearts were slowly learning to beat together. Lyra listened deeply. His words touched something inside her, something warm, something new, something beautiful. She did not speak right away. Instead, she simply sat there with him, feeling the quiet connection between them. She looked at him with soft eyes that carried trust, respect, and something gently growing. Ethan felt the same. He did not say anything more. He didn't need to. The world around them glowed softly, like it understood. When it was finally time to return to the station, Ethan stood slowly. Lyra stood too. They stayed face to face for a long, peaceful moment. No words, just understanding. He promised softly that he would return again. She promised gently that she would be waiting. As he walked away, he felt it clearly now. Their bond was no longer just curiosity. It was no longer simple friendship. It was becoming something deeper, something powerful in a gentle way. Something that made the universe feel warmer. Lyra watched him leave with a calm heart, but now there was also quiet emotion blooming inside her. She knew something important was forming, something rare, something precious, and both of them felt it. This was no longer just a connection between a human and an alien. This was the beginning of something that could change both their worlds forever. Ethan felt the pull of the alien world even before he left the station. Every moment spent among the stars seemed incomplete without the glowing forests, the shimmering river, and most of all, Lyra. He had returned to his daily routines, checking equipment, analyzing data, writing reports, but his heart kept drifting back to the planet. He found himself wondering about her thoughts, her feelings, and what she was thinking about humans, about him. There was a quiet ache in the distance that only returned when he knew he could see her again. Finally, the mission team prepared for another visit. This time, it felt different. Ethan was not just going to observe, he was going to truly connect. As the shuttle descended into the glowing forest, he could see the soft shimmer of the leaves and the river that reflected them. He stepped out carefully, following the familiar path, and there she was, Lyra, waiting near the riverbank. Her presence was calm, elegant, and somehow comforting. When she greeted him, he felt a warmth that went beyond words. Their communication flowed easily now. He no longer felt awkward or unsure. Each thought he shared was met with understanding. Each question she asked opened a window to her own mind and spirit. Today, he decided, they would explore the heart of her world together. As they walked deeper into the forest, Ethan noticed subtle things he had never seen before. Small creatures that reflected light like gems, trees whose leaves pulsed gently with life, and soft sounds that seemed to carry the history of the planet itself. Lyra explained these quietly, showing him how every being, every plant, Even the flowing river carried meaning and energy. Ethan listened, awed. The more he saw, the more he understood that Lyra's people did not just live on their planet. They were part of it, and it was part of them. After some time, they reached a clearing where light poured through in golden beams. Ethan took a deep breath, feeling peaceful. Lyra gestured for him to sit beside her by a small pool of water that reflected the glowing sky. She told him that this place was special, a place where her species often contemplated life and connection. Ethan nodded, feeling honored to be invited. For a while, they simply sat, sharing silence. Ethan felt his heart open in ways he had never imagined. Lyra's presence was calming, yet there was a quiet energy that made him alert and aware. He wanted to speak, to express everything he felt, but words seemed too small for the emotions swirling inside him. Finally, he asked her something that had been lingering in his mind ever since their bond began to deepen. "Lyra," he said softly, do you love me?" The question hung in the air, gentle yet powerful. Ethan felt a wave of nervousness. What if she did not understand? What if she could not feel the same way? His chest tightened slightly, but he did not retract the words. He had to know. He had to hear her answer. Lyra remained silent for a moment, tilting her head slightly, her eyes reflecting thoughtful light. She had studied humans, understood emotions, and yet love was a concept that transcended her species' experiences. She had felt something with him, a warmth, a curiosity, a connection that had no name. But Ethan's words gave it a form, a clarity she could explore. Finally, she spoke inside his mind, softly and clearly. "Love is not only what your species calls it, but I feel something for you, Ethan, something that is deep, persistent, and honest. It is trust, curiosity, care, and joy all mixed together. It is wanting to be with you, to understand you, and to share the world with you. If this is what you call love, then yes. I feel it for you." Ethan's heart leapt. He felt speechless, overwhelmed in the best way. He had not expected words like this, not such clarity and honesty from a being so different from humans. He felt emotions rushing through him, joy, relief, admiration, and something tender, gentle, and warm. He simply looked at her, feeling that words were not needed. Their connection, built over days of exploration, trust, and shared experiences, had found its peak in that quiet moment. Lyra's eyes reflected understanding, compassion, and something deeply human. Ethan realized that this bond was unlike anything he had experienced before. It was pure, honest, and untainted by fear or expectation. They continued sitting by the pool, speaking softly, sharing thoughts, hopes, and dreams. Ethan told her about his life on Earth, about the people he cared for, and the simple things that brought him happiness. Lyra shared her thoughts, the way her species perceived the world, and how she felt when she connected with the planet, with life, and now with him. The more they talked, the more Ethan realized that love was not just an emotion confined to humans. It was a bond that transcended species, language, and even distance. It was a choice, a connection, a recognition of the other's heart and soul. And in that moment, he understood why humanity always dreamed of reaching the stars, not just to discover, but to connect. The evening grew softer, the sky filled with gentle glowing colors, and the forest pulsed with quiet life. Ethan and Lyra stood together, feeling the gentle energy of the world around them. They walked slowly back toward the riverbank, hand in hand, not out of necessity but as a quiet symbol of trust and connection. Lyra spoke again softly. "Your heart is kind, Ethan. It carries hope, curiosity, and care. You teach me what it means to feel deeply, to choose to connect. I am grateful for you." Ethan's chest tightened with emotion. "And you teach me too, Lyra. You teach me to see the universe differently, to feel it not just with my mind but with my heart. I have never met anyone like you." They stood in silence for a while, enjoying the gentle sounds of the river, the faint glow of the forest, and the peaceful energy that surrounded them. Both felt that no words could fully capture the depth of what they shared. And yet no words were necessary. Their hearts had already spoken. As the stars began to appear in the alien sky, Ethan realized that humanity's place in the universe was not just about exploration or science. It was about connection, understanding, and love. Humans had traveled far, and in doing so, they could touch lives in ways that were gentle, inspiring, and profoundly meaningful. Lyra looked at him, her eyes shining softly. "I feel our connection will last, Ethan. It may be the first, but it will not be the last. We are learning together, and that is enough for now." Ethan nodded, feeling a quiet resolve. He understood that their journey was only beginning. There would be challenges, moments of doubt, and days when distance might feel too great. But he also understood that the bond they had formed was strong, patient, and honest. And that was the foundation of something truly extraordinary. As they finally returned to the shuttle that would take them back to the station, Ethan looked back at the glowing forest one last time for the evening. Lyra's gentle figure remained etched in his mind. He felt a wave of gratitude and quiet joy. Humanity had reached out to the stars, and in doing so, he had found not only wonder but a heart that understood his own. The shuttle rose smoothly into the sky, carrying them away, but Ethan's thoughts were not with the mechanics or instruments. They were with Lyra, with the forest, with the quiet, glowing life that now felt like home. He realized that even across light years, love, understanding, and connection could travel. They could reach across any distance, any difference, any star. And as the shuttle moved steadily toward the station, Ethan felt it clearly in his heart. The universe was not cold. It was not empty. It was full of light, warmth, and possibilities. And now, one human and one alien woman had discovered that even in the vastness of space, the simplest truths, trust, care, love, were what truly mattered. He did not speak immediately, not wanting to break the quiet strength of the moment. But inside, he knew that when he returned, he would speak again, learn again, and connect again. Because the heart's journey was not measured in light years or discoveries. It was measured in courage, honesty, and the willingness to reach out to another being, no matter how different. Lyra's last words as the shuttle lifted were gentle but unforgettable. "I will be here, Ethan. I will wait, and I will learn with you. Together, we will explore not only the stars but the hearts of our worlds." Ethan felt a quiet, deep awe. The adventure had moved beyond science. It had moved into something much more human, much more profound. And he knew, without doubt, that their story was only beginning. Ethan returned to the station with a quiet sense of peace that had not left him since his time with Lyra. He worked efficiently, but his thoughts often wandered back to the glowing forest, the shimmering river, and the calm presence of the alien woman who had become a part of his life. The other team members noticed his thoughtful smiles and occasional distant gazes, but no one interrupted him. They understood that some discoveries were beyond data, beyond reports, beyond what instruments could measure. Some discoveries lived in the heart. When the next authorized trip to the planet arrived, Ethan felt a familiar thrill. This time, he was not only eager to explore and understand, but he also felt responsibility. Responsibility for the connection they had built, for the trust they had earned, and for the growing bond that was now undeniable. As the shuttle descended, the planet greeted them like an old friend. The air smelled sweet and fresh. The glowing trees pulsed gently under the soft light, and the river shimmered as if it knew Ethan was coming. Lyra waited by the riverbank. Her figure was as serene as ever, yet there was something subtly different. She seemed to glow with quiet anticipation. As Ethan stepped forward, she reached out a hand. Their fingers met, not forcefully, not dramatically, but gently, naturally, like two currents joining in harmony. Ethan felt warmth rush through him, not just in his chest, but deep inside, in a way that made him feel alive and connected to everything around him. They walked together into the glowing forest, sharing thoughts and stories. Ethan told her about the Earth he loved, the people he cared for, and the small wonders that made life meaningful. He spoke about dreams of the future, hopes of humanity reaching new heights, and the longing to connect with other civilizations in peaceful ways. Lyra listened with quiet attention, absorbing every word. She explained how her species had always observed other worlds from a distance, curious but careful. She said that meeting a human in person had been more profound than she had imagined. Together, they explored deeper parts of the forest. Ethan noticed how every movement, every sound, every flicker of light seemed alive, as if the world itself acknowledged their presence. Lyra showed him small creatures that danced with the glowing plants, and trees that shifted their colors in response to gentle touches. She explained that her people believed the world was not separate from its inhabitants. Every thought, every emotion, every act of care contributed to the harmony of life. Ethan felt humbled. He realized that while humans had made remarkable technological progress, there was something deeply valuable in the simplicity, balance, and empathy that Lyra's species embodied. At one point, they reached a high clearing overlooking a wide valley filled with soft light. Ethan looked down at the rivers, the glowing forests, and small creatures moving about, and he felt the vastness of life in a new way. Lyra joined him, her hand resting gently on his arm. He could feel the energy of her presence, calm yet vibrant, and it gave him courage and clarity. They stood there in quiet reflection, sharing a moment that needed no words. Later, Lyra led Ethan to a place where the natural energy of the forest pooled into a gentle fountain of light. She explained that this was a sacred place of reflection and connection. Humans did not have anything exactly like it, but Ethan understood immediately. It was a place to think, to feel, and to connect deeply with life itself. They sat together, hands sometimes brushing, sometimes resting side by side. Ethan felt the bond between them grow stronger with every passing moment. He realized that love, true understanding, and mutual respect were not limited by species. They were universal principles, expressed in trust, care, and the willingness to open one's heart. Lyra spoke quietly in his mind, her voice carrying the same calm warmth that had captivated him from the first day. Ethan, the connection between us is rare. It is built on understanding, respect, and the quiet acceptance of each other's heart. I feel grateful for every moment we share. Ethan smiled softly. I feel the same, Lyra. I have never known a connection like this before. It feels like we are discovering not only each other, but the meaning of life in ways I never imagined. They spent the day exploring more of the forest, helping small creatures, observing plants, and occasionally laughing softly at small surprises. Ethan loved how natural everything felt with Lyra. He had expected first contact to be cautious and clinical, but it was instead vibrant, gentle, and deeply emotional. As evening fell, the sky transformed into a cascade of glowing colors. Ethan and Lyra returned to the riverbank, their usual quiet place of reflection. Lyra looked at him with her calm, wise eyes, and Ethan felt his heart fill with gratitude and quiet joy. She spoke softly. "We have learned much from each other, Ethan, not only about our worlds but about the hearts that live within them." Ethan nodded. "And I hope we can continue to learn together. Not just me, not just you, but our people. Humans can bring hope, curiosity, and kindness. Your people can bring understanding, patience, and wisdom. Together, we can show the universe what connection means." Lyra's eyes shimmered with quiet light. "I agree. Let this bond grow, Ethan. Let it inspire not only us but the worlds we come from." They sat together, watching the soft glow of the river and the gentle movement of the forest. Ethan realized that the most important discoveries were not found in instruments or data, but in trust, empathy, and connection. His heart felt full. He understood that humanity's place in the universe was not only to explore, but also to bring warmth, understanding, and hope to the stars. The team eventually called him back to the shuttle, but Ethan lingered for a moment, looking at Lyra. He felt no fear, no doubt. Only a quiet certainty that this was the start of something extraordinary. He reached out and she met his hand. Their fingers touched once more lightly, a simple gesture filled with meaning. As the shuttle lifted off, Ethan looked down at the glowing forests and sparkling river. He thought of Lyra, of the connection they had built, and of the possibilities that lay ahead. He knew that one day, their people would meet again, share knowledge, and continue learning from one another. But more than that, he knew that the bond between a human and an alien could show the universe the strength of kindness, trust, and love. Back on the station, Ethan worked with a renewed sense of purpose. He prepared reports, shared observations, and suggested projects that encouraged peaceful interaction, cultural exchange, and mutual understanding. The research was not just scientific, it was human, deeply human. He hoped that his work could inspire others to see the value of compassion, curiosity, and patience when facing the unknown. Lyra continued to communicate with him, sometimes through the mind, sometimes through simple visual signals from the forest. Every interaction reminded Ethan of the quiet beauty of their bond. He realized that love, understanding, and connection were not limited by distance, species, or language. They were universal, waiting to be recognized and nurtured. Weeks passed and their friendship, and the quiet love growing between them, strengthened. Ethan often thought about the future. He imagined a day when humans and Lyra's people could meet openly, learn from each other, and create something extraordinary together. He imagined a universe where curiosity and compassion were valued as much as technology and progress. One evening, Ethan returned to the glowing forest for a personal visit. Lyra greeted him with a calm, welcoming smile. They sat by the river as the sky filled with soft glowing stars. Ethan looked at her and spoke softly in both words and thoughts. "Lyra, this bond we have, it feels like the first step toward something greater, not just for us but for our worlds. And I want to take that step with you." Lyra's eyes reflected the gentle light of the river, her voice calm but full of quiet emotion. "And I will walk with you, Ethan. Together, we will explore, learn, and grow. Together, we will show our people the strength of connection and the beauty of understanding." They sat together in silence, letting the soft glow of the forest and the gentle pulse of life around them speak for what words could not. Ethan felt his heart full of hope, joy, and determination. He realized that the greatest adventure of all was not in reaching new worlds, but in reaching each other. As the stars twinkled above, Ethan and Lyra held hands, not out of urgency or need, but out of quiet choice and respect. They knew that the universe was vast, full of challenges and wonders, but they also knew that together they could face it all. They could learn, grow, and connect across the stars. And in that quiet, glowing forest, humanity and an alien species found more than curiosity, more than knowledge. They found trust, respect, and the gentle, enduring power of connection. Ethan realized, with a soft smile, that humanity had not only discovered a new world, but had also discovered the most extraordinary thing of all: the ability to touch hearts across the universe, to inspire hope, and to form bonds that could change the stars. As they watched the river shimmer under the alien sky, both Ethan and Lyra understood the truth of what they shared. They had crossed the distance between worlds, and in doing so, they had found a bridge between hearts. The stars no longer felt distant or cold. They felt alive, filled with possibilities and ready for humans and aliens to explore together, guided by curiosity, kindness, and love. Ethan leaned back slightly, letting the soft wind brush against him. Lyra's hand remained in his. He felt peace, joy, and a quiet excitement for the future. There would be more journeys, more discoveries, and more moments like this, but for now, he was content. Humanity had reached out to the stars, and in return, he had found connection, friendship, and the gentle beginnings of love that would shape not only their hearts, but the future of both their worlds. and in the soft glow of the alien forest, with the river reflecting the first twinkling lights of distant stars, Ethan and Lyra began the next chapter of their journey. Together,